If you're a radio listener, you got to go to Infowars.com and look at this sack of crap at the official graduation. He's a new Army officer. He says he's a sergeant. Pro-Kaepernick Army officer posts communism will win. I mean, they're exterminate your ass. He's saying that he wants to end our republic, end free elections. Related posts promote Antifa, killing capitalists, and Trump hatred. Yeah, you go to his site, he wants to kill people. And you know what? These guys just keep pushing their stuff about how they want violence. If it's real civil. But then look at the rest of the graduates at West Point. I mean, I'll just tell you, the white guys, the black guys, all of them, they don't look like the kind of West Point graduates I used to see. They look like a bunch of sniveling little stunted, rats, all giggling and laughing, thinking it's funny that he's doing a communist hand sign. It's so cute. It's so funny. How sickening is that, Jack Posobiec?
It's disgusting. And actually, the last time I checked, I'm pretty sure advocating for the overthrow of the U.S. government gets you kicked out of the military.
Nope, having the president support you and supporting the republic,
right,
that gets you kicked out of Navy intelligence.
I'm sorry, you're right. I forgot my own experience. We learned it's the opposite. If the president says that they support you, then you get kicked.
Aren't you ashamed to support America and all this freedom? How dare you not want to live in North Korea or get in a time machine, go back to the Soviet Union, which the Russians say was horrible? What's your problem? This little snot-nosed son of a bitch, got everything paid for by taxpayers, had some asshole, excuse me, Lord, I'm not going to do that, had some congressman endorse his ass to be there? I mean, I got to be honest with you. I'm not a violent person, but Antifa, he supports it, running around beating up women. That guy wants to get in a boxing ring with me. I'm like 20-something years older than him. I guarantee you I'll do it for charity. I'd love to stomp the hell out of that guy.
This guy, I mean, he's so skinny, too.
He's an arrogant piece of... He says he wants to kill people. He says he wants to kill people.
We should take a look at those Antifa protests from New York. So West Point's not too far from New York City. We should see if he's participated in these Antifa assaults on...
He has.
These protests that have turned violent. We should start looking through. Maybe 4chan can go and take a look. I mean, he's putting his face right out there. You can all go back and look, and you can see.
Look at his eyes. He a power trip. He knows commies get to run around and kill people, which he lusts about. This is what our military's filled with. Look at these so-called officers. I mean, they look like little punks.
The one guy right behind, I will say this, the one guy right behind him does look a little flabbergasted. He's like, what are you doing?
This guy thinks it's funny.
That guy's laughing. The guy right behind him, the one who's facing at the camera, he's like, what's going on right now? I don't think this is right. And
Veterans for Kirkpatrick.
With a sword. He's holding a sword. He's got his sword on right there. See that right on the hilt? He's got his sword hilt. He's got all of it. That's their ceremonial saber. So he's sitting there with a weapon, mind you, saying communism will win. With a weapon.
He's saying, we're in your military. We're taking over.
Yeah, I can't
They're uncloaking right now.
I can't believe that he would do this and show his face. I can't believe that he didn't cut that out. Because it's
because he's protected. There's probably more of them than there are us.
And it's also the narcissism of it. It's that self-actualization of narcissism of saying, look how strong I am. I'm going to write on the little marker on the inside of...
Boy, wasn't McCarthy proven right?
Yeah, Joseph McCarthy. I mean, he said all those years ago. He said we are having communists infiltrate. They're going.
And he said it's out. He said they've even got our army. He said it's in the army.
They're getting into the military. And they looked at this, and then we were told, oh, he's just crazy.
He said the army specifically.
But he specifically said the army. He specifically said to look out for this stuff. So what happens? Keep in mind now. What happens if McCarthy was right, and those people that got in those years ago are now the ones at the higher levels in the army? Are now the ones that are calling the shots? Think about that.
Look at this punk. Yeah, you know what it is winning over the people of North Korea and China that live in slave factories. It is winning over the human spirit.
You know North Korea is going to be using this. North Korea is going to put this out in their next propaganda message, and they're going to say, "Look, we've got communists on our side.
Handle it anymore, man.
They're not going to fight us. They're going to say the U.S.
And he supports the violent Antifa and talks about killing people. When are they going to start getting taught some lessons? I'm serious, man.
I'd give that.
He's in our military and one of our most elite universities telling us he's going to kill us. It's a clear and present danger. Yeah, there's his Twitter account.
Oh, wow.
Oh, and then he's into Grant. He wants to burn. Oh, yeah, he's an anti-Southerner on top of it. Good God. This guy's such a piece of crap. Ulysses S. Grant, a total alcoholic, horrible general, just a complete moron. Now, there's an article up on Infowars.com. Paul Watson's taking over here with Jack Posobiec and his great work. We're in Austin, Paul's in London, England, and we're looking dead on at the Spencer Rapone getting out as a sergeant. And he has "Communism Will Win" in his hat at graduation and a Che Guevara shirt under. Hey, I actually didn't believe it when I read in some right-wing publication 20 years ago that Che Guevara called Mexicans roaches. So I went to the library and I got his book where he called them dumb roaches and a bunch of other stuff. And black people, he just absolutely hated. And that's the weird-ass thing about it. Communists are so evil and so elitist. You hear about the Chinese communists calling their peasants scum and stuff. And saying, so what if, $50 million died? They're a bunch of little grasshoppers, they call them. They mean like eating our food.
Potatoes. Mao called them potatoes.
Yeah, all sorts of
potatoes. Don't even eat them, just eat them. And that's the main food over there in China, a lot of parts of China.
I forgot. Under the Cultural Revolution, the Great Leap Forward, the main food was giant cook pots. I forgot. That's public. In fact, the communists have published books admitting it.
Yep.
If there's photos, I forgot. Guys, Google giant cook pots that communist Chinese cooked the villagers in. Yeah. I forgot the 80-something million mainly got 8.
Yeah, there was cannibalism. That was done. Mao also used the cook pots as a form of torture. When he was up in the mountains in Yunnan after the Long March, he would put you in a pot, fill it with water overnight when it was freezing cold in the winter, and just leave you out there, and you froze, and half your body would get cut off.
And then they just cooked you afterwards.
And then they would just cook you, and that's what he would do with his enemies.
By the way, this is the stuff I've repressed in my brain because there's documentaries that the communists have put out saying we've reformed ourselves. We don't put you and cook you anymore. Right. Like that's not some right-wing propaganda.
No, this is stuff that Chairman Mao did. This is stuff that it's completely suppressed in the U.S., completely suppressed in China. But you can go out and actually read the sources. That great book.
There's photos of the cook pots.
Yeah, there's photos.
And they're like putting little kids in them because that was.
Next time I come, I'm bringing the book. I'm going to bring the book that's got all the photos, or we can find it. So you can find it.
I've seen it before.
Yeah, what they would do is because the reason.
Well, no, they actually arrested Mao's wife. And she died in prison. They blamed her for it all.
Right. So exactly. They blamed her for the Cultural Revolution. And there was her and there was 3 others. They called them the Gang of 4. And they said, no. They said Mao was just trying to help the country, but it was you 4 who were giving the orders. And then she died mysteriously in prison not too long after.
And that's the thing. Then you see some snot nose with a free education in this beautiful, wonderful country saying, I want to kill people, I'm in Antifa, I want to kill capitalists, and then they found on the Facebook where they're recruiting the military. Let's put it on screen. Pasobic, tell us about it. We're going to hand the baton to Paul Watson.
So we're looking at this guy, his Twitter account, and he's got up there, it says DSA Veterans. And DSA, Alex, that's Democratic Socialists of America. So it's a communist.
That's the original core commie group.
Original core. And so you look at veterans, he's got it right there in his bio. And I said, wait a minute, I recognize that DSA because that Democratic Socialists of America, that was Communist Party USA. And so you look at that, and then you go through their feed. They've got thousands of followers. It's a working group, they say, that they're targeting specifically. It says veterans, but as we know from this guy, they're now targeting active duty U.S. military members to convert them to communism.
And let's show the group with a bunch of military people. God, and they're tying it into Kaepernick and the NFL as a recruiting mechanism.
No, they'll use anything they can because they know these guys.
And look, he's attacking the Army veteran, the Hispanic Army veteran, who held his hand over his heart, saying, hey, we're going to defeat your ass.
Yeah, Task and Purpose is one of their sites. They did a huge hit piece on me. They called me up and said, hey, Jack, we're a veteran site. Just come talk to us. And I wrote it up. And they wrote all this slander. And at the end, it just said, Pasobic refutes these comments. Or these accusations. And I said, wait a minute, I didn't know there were left-wing veterans organizations. That's how I first heard about it. So Task and Purpose is actually this sort of hugely left-wing, hugely communist group that's run by former military members, people who got out because either they were, they couldn't keep up with standards or whatever. And now they're basically designed to attack military members, attack people for speaking up for the country, attack people who are patriotic, people like me.
Sure, and then they ban any type of conservative march at Berkeley because Antifa will attack you. Then Antifa has their march and attacks our reporters and beats up their car and smashes their windows, Infowars.com, and it's not even big news. Now, we're just accepting that's what happens to us. That's how they act. That's what they do as they dream of more violence.
Normalization of violence. We talk, how many months ago did we talk about this? The normalization of violence, and now we're seeing it.
What the aging process is when the cell replicates, we lose a little bit of our telomeres. Telomeres are the little cups on the end of our chromosomes.
And when it runs out, you start dying. Secure your DNA force today at InfoWarsLife.com.